Hey squad, welcome back to Prepping with Sarge. So last week we had that interesting situation where AT&T had most of their network at least on the East Coast, most of their network got knocked out. And it made us all think about a few things. Now, the official story as of the time of when I'm filming this was basically that they were doing some upgrades to the network, and in the process of that, I don't know, some coding interfered with some coding, and that's what caused the problem. Now, I know there's some people in the community that are suspicious of that, and I get it. We should always be welcome to question everything, right? If there was something more significant, such as, say, a cyber attack or something like that, would they tell us? I don't know. I'm inclined to think yes, because we are in such a stage with our government and our foreign relations where we have some leaders who are really significant war hawks. I'm trying not to get too political on this, but some of our leaders really are like pro-war, and so I do think that given the current state of affairs, that if it was a cyber attack, we would be told, and it would be used to justify more money for the industrial war machine, right? So that's why I'm inclined to think that, what we heard was probably the honest truth, right? And it's certainly more plausible than other things. Not to say that a cyber attack couldn't happen. Of course it could. And in fact, I've got another video that I'm planned where I'm going to talk a little bit more about that. So where I'm going with all this is redundancies, right? Because one of the bad habits that I got into here is I have two cell phones. One is my personal cell phone and one is a business cell phone. Now, one is on the ATT network and one is on the Verizon network. Interestingly enough, Verizon didn't seem to be having as many issues last week. Now, I had gotten into the bad habit, and as a prepper, I know better, of just leaving my Verizon phone at work because it's primarily used for work. I don't really use it for any personal purposes. And so I got tired of just bringing it back and forth. Now, as a prepper, I've always kind of thought, hey, this is kind of cool. I've got a ATT and I've got a Verizon. If one network goes down, I've got a redundancy. So I know better. I really do. As soon as this happened, I told Mrs. Sarge on the way out to work, like, okay, well, if you need me, because she was on the Wi-Fi at home and she could still make messages go out, texts and things like that through our Wi-Fi network, which is a whole nother type of technology, right? So I told her, if you have an emergency, reach me through the Verizon phone, right? So, but then as I'm on my way to work, I thought, I really had gotten a little bit lackadaisical. I had gotten a little bit too comfortable with this whole process. And for years, I brought home the work phone and I stopped doing it. So now I need to start doing it again. And it's a small inconvenience compared to the possible benefits that you get out of that, right? So what are your redundancies at home, right? A lot of preppers also have walkie-talkies or baofangs, things like that. Do you have any communication redundancies? What if you couldn't get in touch with your family and there was an emergency? What if they couldn't get in touch with you? Do people know where the fallback point is? Like, what if, I know I'm getting a little bit into fantasy land here, right? But this is what we do as preppers. We think ahead and we plan ahead. What if we had a Red Dawn type event, right? Does your family know that if you couldn't get to them, what to do? Do they know how to get to access to your self-defense items? Do they know what their fallback position is? Do you know where the fallback position is? Like, do you know where you're going to meet? Do you know who they are? Does everybody know who they're supposed to get in touch with? Do you have code words, right? Mrs. Sarge and I talked about this recently because now with AI, it's very, very easy to duplicate a person's voice. And where I already have a pretty large social media footprint, it would be very easy for somebody to duplicate my voice and even my imagery, right? Like, they can make videos now that will look like me. And so somebody could message my family and say, and pretend it's me using a voice that sounds like me and an image that looks like me and a video that looks like me and say, I'm in trouble. I need you to send money now or they're going to kill me, right? Something like that. So we have a code word for something like that, where if she gets a contact and it sounds like me, unless I say this code word, it's not me. And I don't do this all the time. You'd only use that for like emergencies, right? Like if something seems suspect. And that's something I've had like long before YouTube and AI and videos. But actually the idea came to me from back in the 80s. This was a thing that a lot of parents would do. So maybe this is something you do with your kids now, is there's a code word that parents would say that only they and their children are supposed to know. So if the parents couldn't get to the children and somebody else that they knew and trusted was going to go get the children from school, for example, to pick them up and get them to a safer location, they need to know the code word, right? And make it obscure. It can't be like your favorite sports team or the dog's name or something like that. It's got to be something obscure that you wouldn't normally say, right? Like hash brown tomatoes, right? Just making something up there. Think about something like that. So what are your code words that if that code word is mentioned, it's like this is a legit message coming from a trusted source, okay? You understand what I'm saying? So just some stuff for you to think about. I told you guys I was going to try to get out some really quick short videos until I can get back on my feet with producing some long form content. And I hope you all are doing okay. I hope you've been able to catch the live streams. That's going to still go on. I just need a couple more weeks. There's a lot going on in my personal life. None of it's bad. It's just busy. And so once I get caught back up, I'll have some more product reviews and we'll do some more survival skills things and all that fun stuff that you all have come to love and appreciate from my channel. I really appreciate you and thank you for working with me as I try to stay connected with these short videos, okay? Keep planting your seeds, keep stacking your silver. This is Prepping with Sarge.